So Mari, let's start with you. Tell us about, is it North Star Editions? When did you go straight from college to them, or how did you get hooked up with this really cool job?
Yeah, so I had been working on fiction projects in the school library market, and then I ended up working at North Star Editions about 5 years ago. It was a new company that was built to publish trade fiction, basically, but the first imprint that we worked on was Flux, which actually was previously owned by another Minnesota publisher, Hueller, and so North Star Editions, they were looking to sell, Hueller was looking to sell Flux, and North Star Editions purchased Flux, and so that was when I came on, and that was right after I had my daughter. So it was like 2016, there you go, 2016, yeah, so, and yeah, so that's how I got into the fiction. I, you know, and I got hired on as managing editor of fiction with the idea of kind of like, you know, come in here and like, you know, let's acquire some more books in young adult. And that was July. And then that October, we ended up acquiring another imprint, Jellyfish Press, which is middle grade fiction. And they had been previously owned by a Utah-based company. And so it was kind of unexpected. We weren't really, hadn't been planning on doing that, on purchasing that imprint, but the imprint was folding and we saw it as a great opportunity to bring on some new books and kind of jump right in. So that was great because I was very excited about working in young adult. I've always loved young adult, but I also have had more experience on the middle grade kind of level of things. So it was really exciting to bring that in. And, you know, since then we publish about 10 books per season. So, you know, around 5 in each imprint. So about around 15 to 20 a year. Yeah, so it's been great. We've been able to continue to build the title list, and we've gotten lots of good starred reviews and all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
When you come home and you say, honey, good news, I'm going to be managing director, Patrick, do you just pull out, well, here's all of my back catalog, all my manuscripts that could immediately fill slots?
Yeah. I mean, I would never think such things. Oh, definitely. I don't say such things out loud very often, but yeah, I will say that I don't know if you've read Flux or Jellyfish, but they do just make great looking and highly reviewed books. And so, yeah, it's definitely that when she got that job, it wasn't like I was publishing left and right. So of course it was like, yeah, I got tomes and tomes to hand over to you. You know, you're a new imprint. You need some stuff, but we didn't actually do that.
Yeah, we did have a discussion about it because he's a great writer and I would love to publish him, but at the end of the day, we were kind of like, it feels like a conflict of interest. It just is not a good idea. And it's tough because obviously he has great work that I would like to have, but there's a lot of great work out there. And yeah, so we've kind of had to be a little bit careful about that just because it just didn't feel right.
I mean, to me either. It felt so right and so wrong at the same time. But yeah. No, I very much agree that
I'll get that contract. Worry about how it feels later.
Yeah. Well, the part of it's like, hey, who cares if this isn't published? But I will say that it would have felt also diminished for me. You know, like I would have always had to say like, this is my wife's. Not like I'm proud of her, but like people would always say like, oh, I see how that happens. That's nepotism, you know.
Yeah, so. We just don't want that.
No, I'm teasing. You absolutely made the right call. Makes sense. So, Mari, for all of esteemed audience who's listening, who thinks, well, that sounds like a wonderful publisher. I'm pulling up the website as I listen to the podcast, and I want to get involved. What types of projects are you looking for right now?
Yeah, sure. Since this is middle grade, I'll talk about Jellyfish Press in the interest of time. But Flux is also always looking for manuscripts. So we have open submissions. We do not require an author to have an agent to submit to us, which is a little bit unusual. As an independent publisher, we just have a lot of great flexibility in that area. But we accept agented and unagented manuscripts. And for kind of like what we're looking for Jollyfish Press right now, I'm looking for more contemporary middle grade, and in particular, looking for own voices stories. So stories where the author has a similar background or experience as the character they're writing about. And that includes books written by diverse authors, or of diverse perspectives. And in addition to that, I'm also looking for middle grade humor. That is very tricky to do, to write books that are funny for kids and that kids actually think are funny. But we feel like there's a really good market for middle grade humor, and so we'd love to see more of that. We have done a lot of, or a fair amount of middle grade kind of fantasy, both more contemporary and then kind of more like high fantasy, and or also just kind of like a magical realism type stories. So we're still looking for that. And yeah, I would say with Jollyfish Press, because we're an independent publisher, we're often looking for something that is different and stands out. Because we have a somewhat smaller reach than the big five, we want something that's really going to surprise readers. So I actually brought a couple of examples. This book, I want to make sure I just mention this. So this is actually the art copy, but it's called Story Magic, and it's written by Lauren Gale, and it is coming out in October, end of October. And this is a really kind of a good example. So it's a high fantasy set in a magical world with this character here. And in this world, magic is created through storytelling. So in order to grant magic to a spell, you have to first tell a story aloud. So it's a really cool book because this character ends up doing some spells and magic working, and in order to do that, every time she has to tell a different story. So there's a lot of stories within stories. It also has an added interest point where in this world, girls and women are not allowed to do magic, so they're not allowed to tell the stories to make magic. It's a belief that that's bad luck and like bad things will happen if they do. But this protagonist begins to kind of question that in this story. So really great book. I just wanted to mention it because it's coming out in October. So yeah, so we often, like story magic, look for something that, is a story that can be relatable to people, but also has an interesting twist, like that storytelling angle, something different that you might not always see in the book. So we're open to submissions. You can look on the Jollyfish Press website and find out what we're looking for, and how to submit. So we'd love to see things.
Jollypress.com?
Jollyfishpress.com.